every time God meets a sinner is a candidate of death. And no matter how loving Zipporah was, no matter how sincere she was, no matter how good intention she was, God would have killed. The only answer was what? Circumcision. You see, tonight, it's a night to lie before God and say, circumcise me. Sincerity does not replace circumcision. No. You must suffer the pain of disconnection from your flesh. Because the Bible now says in the New Testament that the circumcision is not the one that is outward. It speaks about the circumcision of what? The heart. Of your inward man. Of the heart. Of the heart. Because that circumcision was a sign of your membership of God's family. You cannot be going to Pharaoh to say, release my sons, and there is a son in your house that is not part of the covenant. So God said, I will kill you. Brethren, that's how serious matters of circumcision were in the Old Testament. And I'm telling you tonight, this is the way I want to begin to wrap up tonight, that under the new covenant, even though circumcision is not the one that is outward, under the new covenant, if you don't bear the seal that you are a member of God's family, just as God met Moses and Zipporah, you too will meet the wrath of God. Excess flesh needs to be cut off. Needs to be cut off. You see, bro and sisters, if you are not willing to be laughed at, mocked, ostracized, and called names, then you are not ready for Christianity in this century. The Christianity of this century is a lascivious, borderless, lawless Christianity. A nonsense liberty that gives people license to kick against God and do whatever they think is right. Shechemites are the model for the Christianity of this age. Men who are not afraid of the pain of separation. Women that are not ashamed to say that the family to which I belong, we don't spread our legs for men anyhow. It doesn't matter if I will die unmarried. It doesn't matter. Shechemites. What is driving them is a love. Why do you think it was a relationship between a man and a woman? Not a son and a father. Not a daughter and a mother. It's because the woman is the metaphor for the church. If the church refuses to separate itself, it will be raped. And those that will be members of the church, that will be joined to the church, must be circumcised. Have you not noticed that the church is called the household of God? It's a family matter. And members of this family, they bear marks. Let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of Christ. Marks. I was hearing Pastor God lead us when we were praying. When they wanted to enter the promised land, what did God demand? Circumcision. You cannot enter into inheritances when your flesh has not been circumcised. Lust for money, lust for fame, lust for material gain. All kinds of things plague the Christian. And the reason is that we are not willing to go under the knife. Because when you have become old, bro, circumcision is painful. If at the time God is calling you, let this thing go, you refuse to let it go. At the time you now become reasonable and you say, God, I want to do business with you. When he will bring the knife, you will bleed so much. The people will say, why is God doing like this? Go and find out. When the person made contact with God, commandments followed, communications followed, and God said it's time for covenant, and the person ran. Because when it comes to matters of covenant, there is a portion of sacrifice that will be laid upon you. And the person ran. Then now after 15 years, the person now wakes up and says, I want to be serious with God. I want to be serious with God. Then God will come and say, that matter that I discussed with you that day, that's where we are continuing from.